No, we'll
You're
be,
welcome to join.
That's tomorrow night at
Public
4:30.
Oh, I see, okay.
Tomorrow night, 4:30.
4:30.
at the high school.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Chairman. No, 8% represents the upper range of what we're expected to pay for next fiscal year for status quo
Okay,
renewal.
so it's not the number that we picked back in August. This is based on
The
our
number,
consultants.
the number that we picked in August was the best guesstimate. It turns out that that number was exactly what our consultant told me when I met
That's
with
what
him
I was
last
trying
week.
to confirm. So the 8% here is from the consultant. not-
From the consultant,
Okay.
and again, I'll be meeting with our consultant on the 22nd. The intent of that meeting is to develop a strategy for going before the Insurance Advisory Committee and the Board of Selectmen. One of the options that we may be looking at is to look at exercising the rights under Section 21, which is the section of law that was passed relative to changes to health insurance. I think you might have seen an article in the Mass Municipal Beacon, which was very well written this past month, about the number of communities that have accepted that. I'm not saying that we do that, but what we need to do is we need to find that's similar in structure to the plans that are offered through the GIC or similar to that. That will result likely in an increase in the 3 to 4% range. And the change going from 8% to 3 to 4% is $200,000, so it's a significant and a real amount of money. And
I
we need to look
guess,
at that.
I was hoping to see, and maybe this is just wishful thinking on my part, somewhere between a 4 to 5% increase on the existing plan.
It could very,
Based on what's going on.
Yeah, you don't get your quote, though, until when? Your real quote?
we won't get it till probably sometime in the beginning of April,
Yeah, so
at least
it gives
another
you-
month out.
Yeah, I understand that.
The data that resulted in the 8% is based upon the consultant's view of claims incurred to date. What he has is he has all the run-out claims on the Blue Cross for the prior year. What he needs to do is he is putting together some numbers for this fiscal year. But his experience is the medical inflation rate is 3 to 4%. That's what he's saying his number is, so.
Okay, so if the medical inflation rate is 3 to 4%, then we're being driven by experience. The 8% is.
Correct.
And we don't really know what that is yet.
We will. We will, and I think our strategy is to be very upfront, continue to have open dialogue with the board as we go forward, and open dialogue with our employees dealing through the Insurance Advisory Committee. So,
I think the employees and the collective bargaining unit should be very receptive to the dialogue, because I think it's proven that, with our consultants on board, that, they were treated fairly. We came to a conclusion, and most everybody's pretty happy with the plan that's in place right now, which was a switch. And so I think the dialogue, the open dialogue is key. So that there's no misunderstanding, and there's nobody's suspect of
Yeah,
anything. And
early in the process.
the sooner the better, and as we get this information, I would suggest that you start sharing it with their representatives as soon as possible.
Has Meyer approached us?
not yet.
No. I was hoping, I was suspecting they might get a little more aggressive this year.
Maybe, maybe not.
I don't think they really got hurt.
Thank you.
Okay. All the new business, Mr. O'Leary?
Just want to touch on a few things we have some upcoming events next week or two. And
They are coming.
they are coming, and they're coming quickly and swiftly. Certainly, next Monday night, we have a special town meeting, which is, again, to act on specifically this proposal, high school, middle school proposal. It does require a 2/3 vote in order to pass. So, again, I would urge anybody who has any interest, one way or the other, to please come, participate, vote, and hopefully favorably. Again, personally, I think it's the wise thing to do. I think it's going to give me, as a taxpayer, the best value going forward. I think it's going to be the best thing for the community. So I would urge everybody to come to town meeting Monday night, and again, the following Saturday. This is new to us too, is a Saturday election. Give everybody an opportunity to come out for the whole day, when they don't have to conflict with work necessarily, and come out and vote. It's probably the single largest decision that we've made collectively here now ever. dollars and cents issue. But also, it's not just dollars and cents. It's the future of the community, it's the value of our property, it's the character of our community. It's what we're talking about right now. And once again, I would urge everybody to vote. But in between that, on Friday night, again, a wine and food festival to help support Parks and Recreation, Ipswich River Park. Come on, just, it is a great time. So, again, please come to town meeting. Please vote next Saturday, and I would urge everybody to vote yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Briscoe.
Just one little thing related to the school vote. I really want to thank the community, actually, because there's been a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of people that have given up their time to be available to ask questions, to give tours, and people have actually been taking advantage of it, and I really want to thank the community. Even the ones that haven't quite made up their mind yet, I think it's wonderful that they're actually going out, obtaining the information so they can make an independent decision based on true facts, and I really think the community has stepped up in a big way and really have taken the time, and I hope more do between now and as we go into the vote. The last thing I had was, on special town meeting night, are we meeting in advance?
Yes.
Do I need to plan that into my schedule?
We do. We typically will hold a meeting, depending upon how aggressive the agenda is, either at 6 or 6:30, so I would ask that the board members reserve time on the 19th.
I would suggest that we meet at 6, because when we meet
Yeah,
at
'cause it's gonna be a
6:30,
large
we
crowd.
always
I agree.
run in, and
Okay.
it's gonna be.
Let's do it.
And again, just to reiterate, though, as far as the public access channel, again, the public hearings that have been had, the videos, the tours have been invaluable to people.
Yeah.
People are watching it and are seeing it. For those people that haven't, or if you want to just help make up your mind again, they're worth the time to watch, and they've been a terrific source of information. And Sean and the rest of the committee have done a great job. Should be congratulated. Sorry.
That's good. I'm done.
Just a couple of things. Last week at our last meeting, I mentioned that I'd be working with Representative Jones in terms of tax relief programs that are out there. For those of you who read the transcript last week, under the Dome article that he places in periodically, he listed a number of tax relief programs. What I'm going to do as a result of that is get together with our town assessor and get all the necessary documentation and materials. And what I intend to do is have essentially office hours here on a once-a-month basis, starting April 13th, Friday morning, April 13th, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. For those that are interested and want to find out about the tax relief exemption programs, I want to take advantage of those. So I just want to announce that this evening, that beginning April 13th, between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., I will be here in this building for anyone that wants to come down and find out about the programs and whether or not they qualify. But in terms of the school project town meeting on next Monday evening, I encourage everyone to come out that evening. I took the opportunity on Saturday to go, although I had been into the high school on several occasions, I actually had taken the tour. And there were two things that stuck out to me on Saturday. One, I actually physically visited the old automotive wing, which are now classrooms. I must say, after having physically being placed in those particular rooms, I wouldn't put a household animal in those rooms, and we're teaching children in those rooms. It was deplorable. So that's one thing that struck me. The second thing that struck me is that one of the fathers in attendance brought his child, who unfortunately is handicapped and in a wheelchair. Thankfully, my wife and I have two very healthy children. So, in just watching this young girl try to navigate through that high school on Saturday, it was an absolute chore. The ramp, if you know the ramp that's on the, I believe it's the, in between the east wing and the auditorium, that it is like a ski slope, coming up and coming down. I don't know how this young lady would actually physically be able to get herself safely up that ramp, or, more importantly, down that ramp without going at an excessive rate of speed. she would need to have someone with her on each trip up and down. Then once you get up on that side of the wing, if you take a left down the corridor after you pass the library, there is no ability for her to get out on that side of the building. She has to come back down the same wing that she has. So God forbid if there was ever an emergency and she would have to exit if she was on that side of the building. Things you don't think about if you don't have a child in that condition. The other thing that was interesting was to watch her try to get in and out of any classroom. There's no handicap buttons on any of the doors. It was just amazing. And then some of the rooms that had been split in half, this young lady, it would have been an embarrassment to her because she physically had to move, or someone had to move chairs and desks for her to get down and into a desk area to be taught. I just can only imagine what the embarrassment she would have felt that that was a classroom setting for her to go down. So a couple of things for people to think about if they haven't been in that situation. Those automotive rooms wouldn't put an animal in, and it's just impossible for anyone who happens to be handicapped to navigate through that building. I've been involved on the secondary school building committee since I was become a member of this board, going back 4+ years ago. But the secondary school building committee has actually been in existence since 2005. So this is a plan that has not been looked at over the last 6 months, not looked at over the last year. You're going back 7+ years that this plan has been looked at by several people. There's been existing members that have been on for that length of time. There's been new members that have come on over the last 2 years. Presently constituted, there's 22 members of the secondary school building committee. Some educators, superintendent, the two principals. But in addition to that, there are several citizen participants, fellow taxpayers, that are very educated and experienced in a multitude of areas, whether it be construction, finance, HVAC. There's a number of professionals that have dedicated an enormous amount of time. This is a plan that's responsible. It's responsible structurally. It's responsible financially. And most importantly, because we are building 2 schools, responsible educationally. So I encourage you all to come out, and I encourage you to, along with me, support this project. Thank you.
Yes, I have about 4 things I just want to go over. With regard to the schools, I was reading the paper the other day, and I guess it's in the papers fairly often, but one of the things that's always concerned me as an American is how generous we are worldwide. We put a lot of emphasis in education for other countries. We do it for immigrants, legal or otherwise. And what I've always noticed is that we don't seem to take the funds and apply them to our own. And that has always bothered me. You know, growing up in a city environment, I've seen quite a few bad things happen, and kids go the wrong route in life and not get the education that they needed because we're doing it for somebody else. And I could never understand how we as a country seem to be turning our backs on our own youth. And as I think about what we're attempting to do here educationally for our children, and I think about how it's being reported that we're falling behind all the other countries in the world, that I just don't know how we can continue not to support our children by giving them the best opportunity to get the best education that they can possibly get. And so when I think about our new schools and what we're trying to do, and I know money's always an issue, but this is for our own.